Right. No, absolutely. And if you see what's going on, in the world of politics today, where the Democrat Party has lost complete and utter control of their facilities.
Oh, wow.
Their faculties, everything. They've lost complete and utter control of power, of money. They're raising money on rape victims. They're raising money on impeach Trump. I mean, just the absolute hysteria that is in the Democrat Party. And you see, and I bring this up all the time, and you mentioned that Joy Villa made the comment, it feels like America is in the fourth quarter of a football game. Down maybe 21-0, and we're really down. And we're making a comeback, but we're in the locker room, and they call up Anthony Robbins, and Anthony Robbins gets up there and gives the speech of a lifetime. But what he says in his message is, and this is what basketball coaches, all coaches know across the board, when you're down and you got to talk to your team, what do? You go back and you talk to them about the basics. We got to get back to the fundamental basics of football. What is it we got to do? It's a game of inches. And we gotta.
You're invoking Al Pacino. I see where you're going with this.
The clean part. But you know what I'm saying, though, right?
Well, no, I don't, because I'm gay, so I don't understand anything about that reference you just made.
No, Al Pacino was in a movie, and it was all about getting back to the basics and the fundamental basics of whatever it is that you do.
Make a Madonna analogy, then I'll understand.
If she got back to the fundamental basics of what it was when back in the 80s.
Oh, back when she had good music?
Yeah, back in the 80s when she...
I did not mean that.
Let's not go down that road.
Wow.
No, I'm talking pre-Guy Ritchie. No, I do like Guy Ritchie. I think he's a good guy. Anyway, no, my whole point is get back to the simpler things in life. What is real? For a Christian, it might be get back to the Ten Commandments. For a non-Christian, it might be get back to what your mother and your father told you, right from wrong. Let's get away from all this other BS, and let's get back to the basics and the foundation of what made this good.
Exactly. I totally agree. And I mean, and the other thing that we need to get back to, and this goes back to the question you asked a bit ago, can we undo a lot of this indoctrination, is we've got to get back to a place too where people are existing in reality and seeing things clearly. I mean, because we've really become a country divided, but we're not even divided. It's not even like maybe a division like the Civil War or something where it was just like one opinion versus another opinion. I mean, this is like the mentally ill versus the people living in reality.
Yeah.
I mean, because you've got like half the country who think that they are resisting the second coming of Hitler, and that this man is putting brown children in cages, and that porn star has become their heroine. And I mean, it's just like, and the rest of us are just going, are you looking at your paycheck?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, hey, real quick, before I totally forget, this was not in the show notes. But I got this guy I work with. He's 30, and I refer to him as my millennial. And so my millennial and we worked together very closely for the last year. And he kept making the comment about his paycheck. Well, it's a little. And just recently, we got profit-sharing checks from our company. He received a $2,000 profit-sharing check that went into his 401k. And I asked him, I said, when was the last time you looked at your 401? He said, I haven't looked at it in probably about 4 or 5 years. So he got into it and got looking at it. It's $16,900. And I said, well, that's a lot of money for a 30-year-old. What was it a year ago? He scrolled all the way back. $9,200. $2,000 was profit sharing for this year, and the rest of that was the friggin' stock market.
Wow.
This 30-year-old is sitting on almost $17,000.
Almost doubled what he made a year ago.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
So am I. Yeah. If I wish when I was 30, I call him my millennial. He's an honorary member of the Gen Xers because he likes the music and he understands and he's responsible. He's got a house and a wife and 2 cars and 2 cats.
He likes Warrant?
He does.
No,
I've never really identified with those 401k people.
Hey, I'm with you, Brandon.
They're like a different class of person than me.
No, but we do have something in the show notes about the fact that there are polls out now that show that while 75% of, I guess it's Democrats maybe that they polled, are recognize that the economy is doing much, much better. there's a lot more jobs and money going around for people to take advantage of.
Yeah, but that's because of Obama.
Right.
And then maybe that'll be your answer. But
maybe even Bill Clinton.
46% of those same people think that
even Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, they don't agree that our country is going in the right direction. They think that Republicans need to be voted out. They're going to still vote Democrat because
but they like the economy. 79% like the economy. 46% say we're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that is in our show notes. I was going to see what you thought of that. I mean, is the walk away? I mean, hopefully the walk away hashtag will affect these people because they're obviously insane with those poll numbers. It doesn't make any sense.
This is the mental illness I'm telling you about. Yeah, no, I think that it will. And it's already happening. I mean, there have been so many people who have walked away. I still get messages regularly, every week, if not, multiple times a week from somebody saying, today is the day I walked away. Today is the day I walked away. These people will message me directly. They are seeing it. And that's kind of where I was going earlier when I said that, something is happening in our country right now, that it's sort of beyond coincidence. I think we got a major push, I think, maybe through divine intervention with this president, I think. And, even the fact that I was able to step up and do this campaign and people embraced it, it's like people are seeing the conditions in which we're living right now are so extreme and so bizarre that it's almost forcing people to recognize, before when we had Obama in office, there was enough sort of, people didn't like him, but, conservatives weren't going, ape crap about it,
Thank you.
and going, yeah, you're welcome. Sorry. And, like smashing windows and screaming into the sky and wearing genitals on their heads and going crazy. But like now that's happening. And I think it's forcing like people who are sort of on the center edge of being on the left. They're kind of getting pushed more and more, and they're going, God, this doesn't feel right. This just doesn't feel right. Something's like everyone's screaming, everyone's angry, and like life seems pretty good. I'm not getting it, And I think that people, just more and more people are getting pushed over to the right.
And something else too, just about that. I just for some oddball reason, at one point in time, I got wrapped up into North Korea and just kind of went through the history of North Korea. And just wanted to learn more about the history of North Korea and what was going on. And what I found when Kim Jong-un's father, Kim Jong-il, had passed away and died, and even the grandfather, when he passed away and died, all the people screamed and wailed, and as Christians would say, the gnashing of teeth and the anger. It was overly, it looked like such fake crying of tears, but it was extreme emotional screaming, almost like identical to when Hillary lost the election. And I kind of parallel those two ideas because Kim Jong-un, the dictator, like a communist dictator where the government is the religion. You depend upon the government for everything, whether it be in Islam or communism, it is identical. The Democrat Party is absolutely exactly what they want to happen, and they have the followers that will put them up there on the pedestal, that will put them up there on high because they don't have anything else. They will believe in them to take care of their health care and not let some old white guy, Republican dude do that. Some racist, hate-filled white dude.
Lucifer.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know much about healthcare, but you're a politician, so I'm going to trust that you know more about healthcare and my health than I do. They're willing to do that, and they're willing to sell it, buy it, lock, stock, and barrel. They're willing to buy it.
Oh, for sure. I think that liberalism is the religion, and I think that the gods are the Democratic politicians. So you're right. You're right.
Just the
only slight change I would make is not necessarily the Democratic Party, but liberalism itself being it's a cult. It's a cult.
Okay,
but it's
absolutely. Yes, I agree with you 100%.
So do you relate with, I'm going to take you back to when you were a Democrat, I guess, or a liberal.
A cult member,
something to that effect. Do you feel like during that time, your perception of right-wingers, did you feel like they were going to oppress you, and you felt like, you must have been buying into all the lies, which is why you were so outraged when you found out that they were lies. Do you use this past experience to try to talk people on the left into coming over and walking away?
See, okay, there's still, okay, I'm still sort of in the process of relearning everything that I thought that I knew before, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like it takes time to go back and kind of be like what was true and what wasn't true. You know, it's like you have to go back and sort of relearn everything. But so it's not like I don't want to completely like ignore some of the truth of history, which is that, I mean, there were a lot of people who were against gay people, and a lot of them were in the
Sure.
Republican Party. So what I'm trying to kind of figure out now is to what degree the media manipulated that
I could
truth.
see that.
You know, because this is what I think right now, and this may change. What I think is that the media focused on the most virulently anti-gay people and made that seem like all Republicans were that way.
Right.
Because now what I'm finding is I'm talking to all these people who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they've always been Republicans, and they're telling me I was never anti-gay. I have a gay kid. I have a gay grandkid. I have a gay, but I sit there and I go, but it was your party who was always putting these issues up and stuff. And they'll, you know, a lot of them will say, well, you know, the Republican Party was really catering to a lot of like religious fundamentalists, I think, for a while.
Yep.
And this is where I'm talking again about, like, I think we're kind of back to the basics. Look, I'm not, and this is not me talking smack about religious people, not whatsoever.
Right, I know what you mean.
I just think that religion in this country is, you know, it's like a wonderful thing that we all have the freedom to exercise, but I think it shouldn't be the focal point of our politics, you know, because I think that a lot of us have different views and a lot of us have different, and we're all just different types of people. And that's where I feel like we are now. I feel like the Republican Party is sort of a collection. It's becoming more inclusive and diverse, and but we all kind of share this common Americanism that we really care about, you know, more than anything. And so to answer your question, yeah, I mean, I thought that all Republicans were horrible people. And I definitely thought they were all out to get us. I mean, I thought it was like, you know, the good versus the bad, the Democrats versus the Republicans. But I think that's because there were some Republicans who were real, I can't swear, can I?
Well, you can,
jerks.
but
We're trying not. We're trying to make it family friendly.
Okay, I'll respect
Right.
that.
We won't get a fine from the FCC if that's what you're asking.
No. I want to respect the tone of your show, jerks. But I think that the media. Here's a great example. So I learned this after I got red pilled this year, and after I learned how dishonest the media is. One of the things I found when I was searching, I was kind of researching the media, was I found this video on YouTube of Black people who went to a Trump rally to support him, like a group of Black Trump supporters. And when they got there, they were there in the crowd, and CNN showed up. And when CNN showed up, they moved the camera so that they would cut them out of the shot so that it looked like there were only white people there.
Oh, that's
and I
so
feel like
racist.
that's kind of analogous to maybe what they did with the Republicans, the gay issue. Like, they moved the pro-gay Republicans out of the shot,
Right.
and just focused on, you know what I mean?
when
Yeah.
Obama was president and they went to Selma and they did this famous march across this bridge in Selma during the riot days back in the 50s. They showed the Black community, showed Obama, they showed everybody. What we didn't see, what nobody saw, was Bush was there. George Bush was there, and they completely. Now, I'm not. For those of you who hate Bush, I'm not defending the dude, not at all. I'm just saying it was a white president. He was there, and the media completely cut him out on purpose.
I would have forgotten about it if you
for
didn't
their
just
agenda.
say that. Yeah.
He just
Wow.
triggered. I just got triggered.
Yeah, I had no idea. What's interesting that you bring up the religious part of the Republican Party, because it's starting to seem now, especially hearing your story about Walk Away, that, you know, our problem with the Democrats and their policies in general, just general platform, I should say, is that they feel like helping other people must be legislated, and that without the government putting in policies that help, you know, disenfranchised, poor, whatever it may be, that it won't happen, that we won't step up and do it. But then if you look on the right, it seems like their problem is that they feel that Christian morals must also be part of, like you say, part of politics. When if you just leave those two out of it, government actually works. If you stop making it a legislative achievement to help, you know, certain people that normally used to be in the past before the Democrats went that way with their platform, you know, a church would have soup kitchens and you know, stuff like that. It was all privatized, and everything was fine then. And of course, it ends up being a thing where we try to we try to buy votes by saying, we'll give this to you. Vote for our party. This is what we'll give to you. We'll give you free health care. We'll give you Social Security, all this kind of stuff. When we know now, since the 90s actually, all the way up until now, that 401ks, those kind of retirement plans work much better. Like my dad, he has more money now than he ever thought he would ever have in his life, because he put lots of his extra money into 401ks, stocks, mutual funds, that kind of stuff, instead of relying on Social Security, which is a Democrat thing. But they'll make you feel like, well, if you don't vote for us, you're going to lose your Social Security, and then you're going to die in the streets, a poor old man or whatever, poor old woman.
In Medicare, Medicaid, they're going to take it away from you. You're pushing grandma off the cliff. And in all reality, that's the furthest from the truth, because Republicans want to get elected too. And they will not cut their nose off, spite their face.
Right. But it's interesting, though, the way you bring up the fact that, before you knew what the Republican Party was actually about, that you felt like it was mostly that they were trying to get religion involved in politics. And we see with the Trump movement now, and you would probably agree with me on this, that they're not even bringing that stuff up. They don't want any part of it. We're getting back to the basics. We're getting back to the basics of the Bill of Rights is universal, right? It doesn't matter what sex or creed or sexual orientation or any of that. This is all universal for everybody. And so when we get back to the basics like that, and I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but me knowing the Constitution the way I do, when people asked Trump during the campaign what he was going to do about certain policies, he would say, I'm going to work with Congress to try to get that done. Where other presidents in the past would say, we're going to make that happen. Well, it's not the executive's job to do that. It's the legislature. So you're right. We're getting back to basics, and I think that that's what the popularity of the Trump movement is. And walk away is kind of like the people from the Democrat Party saying, you know what, we need to not be doing this in politics. We need to be doing what the founders envisioned.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's definitely a big part of it. I was thinking when you were talking, I was thinking about something I've read somewhere that I think that they've done studies that show that conservatives are actually more environmentally friendly and more, I think, generous in terms of
absolutely more generous
philanthropy than liberals. So I think that that's kind of funny too. That and it kind of goes to your point, I think, about talking about legislating, acts of charity essentially or whatnot. And that's such a dangerous, slippery slope in general, because at this point, liberals would like you to believe that anybody who's not white needs help.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like you can't even kind of negotiate with them on this topic, because it's like if you were to go to them and say, okay, great, let's get the government involved in charitable acts and helping people out. The first thing they're going to say, okay, well, we have to start with black women. And then after black women, it's Hispanic women, well, trans black women and trans Hispanic women. And you know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah, and Ronald Reagan called it the soft bigotry of low expectations. So you have these, racist white people, actually racist white Democrats is more like it, who are like, well, since black people can't do for themselves, we need to have all these policies to help them out. And it's racist, because that's not the case. Everybody can do for themselves. It's not about skin color. So, yeah, I mean,
and we have numerous examples everywhere of this very thing happening, I mean, and it's been happening for a long time. I mean, the 80s was 30 years ago. And the most powerful woman in the 80s is Oprah Winfrey, a black woman who came from nothing, who educated herself. She became a billionaire. Right. And she became a billionaire because she was beloved by Americans. And Bill Cosby was the most popular and one of the most influential men in the 80s for the same exact background. I know that his story's gone a little sideways, but I mean, at the time we didn't know that, and that was 30 years ago. And these are two of many examples of Americans who brought themselves up through education, through hard work, and created a life beyond what most any white person's ever going to have in America.
Yeah, I mean, we could go down a list. You could go down a list of I mean, look at you go all the way to the very top. Clarence Thomas, you go Larry Elder, a talk show host, very famous out on the West Coast. Barack Obama, who's president of the United States. I mean, just go any Magic Johnson. Who are you out on the West Coast, Brandon?
I'm in New York on the East Coast.
Okay. Out on the West Coast, in and around L.A., Magic Johnson is everything. Like he owns huge malls and different strip malls and all kinds of land. He's got different companies, and he's huge.
Turned into a good businessman over the years.
Absolutely phenomenal businessman over the years. So you've got there the ability is there if you want to shed the victimhood status.
Right.
Walk away from the Democrats, shed the victimhood status, do not allow yourself to be a victim anymore, and say, okay, I'm going to take personal responsibility for me, myself, and I, and everything around me. I'm going to start doing everything I can do. I'm going to show up to work early, and I'm going to leave late. That's just what you do. If you want to start your own business, it's not 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. It's 9 to 9 and probably 6-7 days a week.
If you're in your own business, probably at least.
Yeah. So that's the whole. We have a misconception of a concept, and that is that they're not teaching capitalist ideologies, capitalist systems in our schools. I was never taught how to start a business. I was never taught how to incorporate and the different structures of that. And the opportunity wasn't there until I was in my 30s, and I actually paid thousands of dollars for it. So those types of ideas should be taught in school. How do I get ahead? How do I make money? I went to college for 2.5 years. And the entire 2.5 years, they never told me one time or taught me one time how to make money.
Right.
That's why I went. I want to make money.
I agreed. I'm with you. I'm with you completely. I get it. And yeah, you guys keep bringing up this 401k. I'm over here shriveling in my chair going, God, stop talking about 401k. I don't have one. Yeah, no. I'm with you. I hear you completely. And I mean, what they are teaching in school now is indoctrination. I mean, liberal indoctrination in every possible way. And again, I mean, I don't obsess about race. I mean, there's so many other things to talk about, but it's just, this is one of their primary tools that they use to, I think, cause this division. And they're really ratcheting down on that kind of thing. Well, intolerance in general.
Right.
I think that, because they're teaching, tolerance and diversity, but that tolerance and diversity really means that you have to believe in this like victim oppressor thing again, which again just sends this message that some people can succeed and some people cannot.
A couple of folks. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
A couple of folks that had sent me a couple of questions that they wanted me to ask you, and one question is from one of our friends, Bill Morgan. He said, given all the stories he's now heard, what would be the top 3 reasons people wake up and walk away? Top 3 things to red pill Dems. Also, how to enlighten, because he's okay. So he's asking the question because if he runs across a Democrat, what are you seeing people walking away for? And he'd like to bring that up to a Democrat.
He just wants to go right into the mouth of the beast.
Yeah, he's just take it off like a Band-Aid, just rip it off like a Band-Aid.
I would say probably the main things that people bring up are the media, the news, that it's become so outlandish and so clear that, I mean, we're talking about, like a Russian collusion investigation that has led nowhere for over a year. $20+ million. Right. Yeah. And has again brought porn stars into our lives and all of these. I mean, it's Omarosa. It's like, my God. So I think there's that. I think there's that the media has really exposed themselves, and and the president again gave them a major push, but they've really shown who they are, and I think that's a big one. A lot of it is just the again kind of the liberalism and the identity politics and the political correctness again that people are sick and tired of feeling oppressed and inhibited in their speech.
Yeah,
that's a big one. And then and with that, I'll kind of connect with that too. Just the name calling and the vitriol and all of that stuff that goes along with the discussion of that we can no longer have a reasonable, rational discussion about things. But the other one that I think that I hear the most and the one I think is the most sad is that people are heartbroken because they have chosen to support our country, support America, support our president. And in return, they have lost relationships with their parents.
Oh.
They've lost relationships with their sisters, their best friends, their siblings, their children. So I have people whose children don't speak to them anymore.
Right. Candace Owens made the comment that in a little video clip that it was easier to come out to her parents as being gay than coming out saying that I voted for Trump.
She's not gay.
Well, I know, but she made a video that she was talking to, which actually was her and somebody else. It was a skit. It was a little skit. It was a funny skit. But she came out to her parents and said, yeah, I got to come out. I'm gay. And they're like, oh, that's great. No, it's cool. And she said, and I also voted for Trump. Are you racist? You sexist?
Oh, my gosh. That was Candace Owens that came out with that video? Oh, I remember. I didn't realize it was her.
I've seen it. What it actually was she said she had a secret she had to come out, and they said, oh, you're gay. And she's like, no, I'm a conservative. And they're like, oh, well, what, can't you just be gay?
Right.
Oh, boy. That's how bad it's got.
It's been a while since
it's gotten that bad. No, that's a good little skit there. What kind of pushback have you gotten from Democrats? Have you at all?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've definitely gotten pushback from liberals and Democrats, and you know, sometimes it varies. There's different tiers of psychosis. Some of them are just, you know, there's like the really simple lower level tier, which is where you know, maybe sometimes I'll be thinking about someone and I'll be like, oh, I wonder what so and so's up to, and then I'll go and I'll be like, oh, they unfriended me. You know, so then, yeah, there's that one. But then there's the people who they're not content to just unfriend me. They have to like completely slander me on the way out the door and say that I'm drinking, I'm on drugs, that I've had a nervous breakdown, that I've lost my mind, that I'm brainwashed, that I'm in a cult, that, you know, so there's all sorts of sort of little smears like that they'll do on social media before they unfriend me. And then there are people who've like, you know, just stopped communicating with me, stopped inviting me to parties, this and that. And then there are strangers who, you know, take that special time out of their day to let me know what they think about me, and think about the way that I look, and think about the way that I talk, and think about the way that I dress.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
No. I don't talk about you all the time, but I do mention you to friends on and off, and my mom, who's a baby boomer, and she's had gay friends in the past. But she's always married, heterosexual, obviously. But, you know, it never bothered her, and it was no big deal. And I mentioned you, and she's like, oh, yeah, I know him. And then, you know, good-looking man. I'm like, yeah, I can agree. He's a good-looking man. So, but, you know, it's...
Well, thank you.
It's whatever, man.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's whatever.
So real quick,
but I mean, for the most part, the feedback that I've gotten has been overwhelmingly positive from people on the right, and it far outshines any, you know, hate mail or anything that I get from the left.
Well, in the name calling, and obviously that's what you mentioned, people on their way out, walking away from you, the name calling ensues, and that's a typical tactic of low level thinking. But
right.
And another question. Let's see, by Lotus. Lotus had a question. She said, was there an moment that caused you to walk away? If so, what? Or was it continual actions? Was it small little things over and over and over that build up to a big giant boom or was it one single shift? Holy smoke, what in the hell?
Yeah, well, no, it was a collection of small things that were driving me away from liberal ideology. And then after the election, I got on social media, and I was on one particular day, I was ranting about, you know, because I was really trying to figure out how anyone could vote for him. I was like, why would anyone vote for this lunatic monster Hitler, you know, hybrid creature?
Right.
And I, you know, on this particular day, I said, you know, I'll never understand how anyone could vote for this man who stood before a crowd of cheering people and mocked a reporter's disability while everyone around him laughed and cheered. And that's when this friend sent me the video, and it was the compilation video. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's a compilation of footage of Donald Trump doing that exact same voice and gesture numerous times.
We played that. Yeah, we played that on the show. Yeah.
When he's imitating somebody who's caught in a lie or doing something shady. And it makes it really clear that he wasn't making fun of that guy's disability. He was making fun of the fact that that man who happened to be disabled was caught in a lie. Yeah. And that the media made it look like he mocked that guy's disability. And, you know, another thing too, just really quickly, because sometimes it kind of comes back to me in waves. And today I had a memory that I'd actually forgotten about, because this all happened in early 2017, right after the inauguration. That's when I really became aware too of the Evergreen College situation. Do you guys know this?
Evergreen College? No, I didn't hear about this.
Look it up. After the interview, look it up.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, what it is that it's like liberals gone loco. These kids in this college are uber leftist progressive kids, and they decided to do a day at school. They had this mandatory day without a white person day.
Oh, I vaguely remember that.
Where white people were told that they had to stay home that day. And if they didn't, that they were complicit in, the oppression of black people, and that they supported the oppression of black people, whatever. Well, one of the professors, who has a long history of being a liberal, of being a civil rights activist, said, look, this isn't right, you guys. This is not the way that you deal with such a situation. These kids all but like physically attacked him. I mean, there's video footage of them circling around, swearing at him, screaming at him, threatening him, calling him a racist, a bigot, a Nazi. And he ended up not being able to come back to teach anymore.
That is insane. My
Look it up, Evergreen College. Look it up.
My sister's a teacher in the public school district, and after the election, she says she befriends the high school kids. She has to befriend them so that physical harm doesn't come to her. And she got a button underneath the desk to call security or whatnot. She was
teaching at my alma mater, which I can attest is, she's not lying.
No,
she's not kidding.
It's rough. And she has, over the years, after having children, she has slowly made the turn, and she's coming around. And after the election, they threatened her. They said, tell us who you voted for. They threatened her and threatened her. She said she got so nervous. She just had to look at them and say, come on, guys, I voted for her. Why would I not? I mean, she had to flat out lie to them, high school age kids, I mean, they could do physical harm to a woman. I mean, there's no question about that. And it's just unbelievable. She didn't work there anymore. She's gone. She's gone.
This is what we're walking away from. This kind of the threats and intimidation, and so, I mean, it's in an effort to fight fascism and Nazism. That's in quotation marks. These people have become fascists and Nazis. I mean, they've become exactly the thing that they claim to be fighting against, and it's insane.
And Bill Morgan, one other question says, given that Brandon is also gay, how does he grade Trump on the LGBTQ community? I have my own opinion, but I'd like to see how do you feel about that?
What does he mean also gay? Who else is gay? One of you guys?
No, I don't know.
Given that Brandon's also gay.
No, maybe Bill's telling us something.
Yeah, maybe Bill's saying something. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I don't question Bill.
We know. Bill's off limits to question.
Yeah. So where do I rate Trump on the gay scale or something like that?
Yeah. On the
using your best gaydar.
Right. Yeah, I just don't. I think we can take that gay scale and throw it out the window at this point, because, like I said, and I want to make really clear to anybody on the left who may be listening or watching, and any gay people on the left who may be listening or watching, I make no bones about the fact that I am an openly proud gay man. I'm always going to be gay. I'm never going to turn straight. So I am gay. And I'm very proud of that fact. But it's time for us to let these identities go. Right. I mean, it's just time to let it go, because this man is not out to get you. He's not out to get me. He's not out to get anyone. This is like a guy, once again, we're kind of back to the basics. We're about, looking at our country, the future of our country, our economy, jobs, like making America a prosperous, great nation. This is not a person who's out to get us, guys. So I would take that gay scale and I would just toss it out the window. I don't even feel the need to rate the man. I feel perfectly safe. I love that this guy's in office. Can't wait to vote for him in 2020. We don't need the gay scale anymore.
I agree with you 100%. I think that my whole thought process on that is that Trump, it doesn't make never mind who you are, what you are. Trump wants to do good by because he knows as a bona fide leader, rising tides raises all ships. It's a fact. It's an absolute fact. You raise this economy up like he's doing right now, everybody gets affected. My company is the company that I work for. They money is just flowing in, and they're buying new equipment, and they're doing all kinds of great things for the employees,
hiring new
and
people,
yes.
and all that. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't bring up 401ks again. Don't do it.
Sorry about that. You could just get yourself an IRA or something like that. We're not financial.
You get yourself a Roth IRA
something.
and
I don't know.
some muni funds.
I got to get it together.
I'm with you.
I didn't have any. I didn't have any of that. How old are you? How old are you?
No, we're not doing that.
No. Are you in your 30s? I would think 30s.
Yeah, well, you can think that if you want.
Okay.
I encourage you to
older
think
than
that.
teens, right?
Okay.
Older than teens.
Well,
No, it's out there. It's out there. No, but I'm 41.
Oh,
you're my age.
You're Gen Xer.
You're my age.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gen X.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you're part of the party, man.
That's true. That's true.
But I have very millennial like instincts. I really do. Like if you were to you'll never catch me talking smack about millennials because I act just like them. I do. When you read the description, like kind of entitled, kind of self-centered, kind of feels like you deserve a trophy. And so I'm like, well, that kind of sounds like me.
Oh, man. I got a guy I talk about that I work with that we refer to as a Gen Xer. He's 39, and he's an absolute hybrid between a baby boomer, hippie, and a millennial. And I'm like, how did this happen?
He's got all of it, huh?
So,
well, all right. Well,
yeah.
Brandon, it was great talking to you. Thank you so much for all the information, and I hope we could have you on again. And any parting words or...
your march on DC.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's the whole point.
Oh, gosh, we got to get that. October 26th through 28th. This is in D.C. What's it all about?
Okay, so October 26th through the 28th, that's a Friday through Sunday, we're doing a walkaway march on Washington weekend. What it is we're going to do Friday night, have a gala dinner at the Trump International Hotel. We already have some amazing people who are going to be coming. Dinesh D'Souza is going to be one of our keynote speakers.
Nice.
We have, Stacey Dash, again, Joy Vila is going to be there.
It's like an all-star cast.
Patterson, who's incredible. I love this guy. He's my new best friend. And more and more and more. I'll put names up on the website so you can see. That's our gala dinner at Trump International to kick off the weekend. Saturday's the main event, the march and the rally. We're actually going to be marching from the Capitol building to the Washington Monument. When we get there, we're going to have just an incredible, diverse group of speakers. These are going to be a combination of walkaways and a combination of people who have really an empowering conservative message, I think, going into the midterm elections, sort of letting people know why it's so important that they get out and vote, and that this is really important this year. This is a crucial vote. So that's going to be a march and rally on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we're doing a closing brunch again at Trump International. What it is just a really energizing weekend, getting people to prepare for those midterms, which are going to be right around the corner after that. And this is going to be telecast as well.
Nice.
So what I want is for all the people who aren't able to attend, I want everyone to get there if they can. But even if they can't attend, or if they're just like, what is this? I don't know. What I want more than anything is for, again, the Black community, the Hispanic community, the LGBT community, to be able to watch this at home on their computers or televisions and see representations of themselves in droves walking away from the Democratic Party, to know that they're not alone. It's time to walk away.
Absolutely awesome. That sounds like an all-star cast of speakers.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's going to be an incredible time.
It's going to be amazing.
I've seen you on YouTube. Do you have a regular show that you do?
I do.
Okay.
I do on Monday nights now at 10 p.m. on YouTube and on my Facebook page, which is at US Minority. It's the Unsilent Minority. My handle's at US Minority. On YouTube, it's youtube.com/US Minority. I'm doing a show on Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. I've had incredible guests so far. I did an exclusive with Roseanne that was all over the news because she's the one who dropped to me how her character Roseanne Connor dies. And that's why you've been seeing that in the news so much recently. I talked to Antonio Sabato Jr., Dinesh D'Souza.
Yes.
And tomorrow night, I have Mason Weaver on, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, catch that as well.
Yes,
it's great.
absolutely.
And if I could tell people to go to walkawaymarch.com for details, walkawaymarch.com for details on the March on Washington.
Okay, so if I see, because I've been seeing the hashtag #WalkAwayMarch, that's a cool hashtag to go with. Walkaway March.
Yeah, Walkaway March, and go to walkawaymarch.com for details.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon. We will talk about this in the weeks to come. We will keep reminding people. And just before the 26th, we'll talk more about
Absolutely, definitely.
Make
We'll
sure
bring
we
it
get
up.
that out there.
Yep,
Where
certainly.
do you guys live? Where are you guys?
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
We're 7 hours away by driving, so we go there.
You can do it.
We do.
We've
go
been
to
to DC 3 times
Yes.
already. We'll be in DC
I don't want to
in
hear
December.
about the past. I want to hear about the
That's
future.
true.
I want
That's-
October
yeah, that's-
26th to the 28th.
October 26th and 28th.
Go to the March
Absolutely.
on Washington weekend.
Maybe we could do a fundraiser and get our butts out there.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, we'll
Yes,
throw together.
yes,
We're going to throw
yes.
together a GoFundMe for that.
Please let's
And it
invoke
wouldn't
that
be
conservative
much. It
spirit,
wouldn't
that
be much.
conservative can-do spirit, and let's get out there.
All right, so we have a GoFundMe for Smyth Radio to get out to the march because if funding wasn't an issue, I mean every one of these events we'd be in DC every
Right.
time.
We just came back from St. Louis.
Yep.
We came back from St. Louis where there was a big
shindig.
Big shindig. And we'll look at it. We'll focus on it. We'll try and do it. I'll give you an absolute.
Peter Strzok raised like $250,000 in 24
Yes,
hours.
we need to get this
son of a-
conservative. That's
Come on,
right.
conservative community. Let's pull together.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
All right. We'll put that up ASAP. We get it out to all our followers. And we got a great Patreon following that's very loyal. Some really, really smart minds
great
that are
people.
part of it. So absolutely. Thank you so much, Brandon. This is
Thank you, guys.
a great
All
interview,
right,
buddy.
we'll see you, and hopefully in October.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank
Goodbye.
you. Awesome. So that was the walk away campaign, and we need to. I guess we need to get out there. What do you think,
Yeah, no, we absolutely do need to get out there.
Brendan Straka? There we
Brandon
go.
struck 250,000. Was it that? Wow. I guess he did raise that much money. All right, so we'll leave that on hold, folks. We've got a great guest coming up again. Let's hit some of this real quick. I know everybody's.
We got to jam all this in, guys. We got to go.
So we did the Brandon hashtag walkaway movement, and we are slated to have Juanita Broaddrick on, and I assume we'll get more into the whole Brett Kavanaugh, the whole issue going on. We'll get into that, but until then, let's talk real quick about the big red wave that's happening. Dinesh D'Souza. He tweeted out, losing a debate is bad enough. Losing a debate and then celebrating is downright pathetic. So there's a guy that was celebrating his loss against Ted Cruz.
Okay.
He was in the drive-through line doing a dance in his car and filming it. And the Daily Beast put it up and said he won. And this is anyways. So we've got Newt Gingrich that was out. It was Beto O'Rourke against the debate against Ted Cruz, air drumming. You cannot beat Ted Cruz. If you go head to head with Ted Cruz, there's so much information jammed into that noggin.
Well, when he ran for president, the big thing about him was he's never lost a debate. He was like the Michael Jordan of the debate team back in high school and college. And of course, he used those skills to have a successful political career because you have to win these debates. And I find it extremely hard to believe that some Yahoo came out of the woodworks to beat him in a debate.
A Democrat in Texas. Sorry, man.
I'm not buying it.
Newt Gingrich this week on Fox and Friends laid out the blueprint. Right after, you folks probably heard, in Texas, there was a district in Texas where a Republican won a state Senate race in the district held by Democrats for 139 years.
That's amazing.
Hillary Clinton won that district by 12%.
Which, if a Democrat has held that district for 139 years, that's not surprising at all.
Not at all surprising whatsoever. Wow. However, it goes hand in hand with the walk-away movement, if you ask me. So Newt Gingrich laid out the juxtapose. You got Republicans right to life. You've got Democrats tax-paid abortions. Dude, you got Republicans safe borders versus Democrats open borders, which makes it more dangerous.
Right.
Gun rights versus gun control, rule of law versus centralized bureaucracy, and work versus welfare. More people are physically working in America than have ever been working in all of American history.
You know, it's interesting that we're praising this development for America because, no, seriously, I think that the sentiment for a long time was, damn it, why are you making me work? I would feel more free. I would feel better and happier if I could just live my life without having to work. I don't know if this is a product of celebrity status where celebrities earn enough money to where they technically don't really have to. If they wanted to, they could just survive on what wealth they have for the rest of their life. Right. But if you really stop and think about it, do they really? I mean, think about it. You got these actors, actresses, directors, producers. Look at all these the richest people in California. And a lot of them end up being workaholics when you really stop and think about it. These people don't just direct a movie, make $100 million and say, well, got my $100 million, I guess I'm going to go ride off into the sunset. No, they end up making more movies. They make sequels. They do different projects. So when it really boils down to it, it's not about having sustenance to be able to not work. What really makes people happy is to be able to provide for themselves with labor that they hopefully love to do. And it's impossible to have that opportunity to do what you want to do when the jobs aren't out there.
It's impossible. Oh, and you feel desperate, you feel demoralized, you feel incompetent.
Right. You end up doing work that you can get, whatever it is.
Right. And as a well-skilled machinist, having a great job right now under Donald Trump, under Obama, it was one layoff after another layoff. I got laid off from I shut 2 companies down in 6 months.
You did that? You shut them
physically
down?
Shut them down.
Yeah.
And so when I went to the company I'm at now, I told them about that, and they gave me the cross and said, "Don't do that here."
The garlic necklace or something.
Garlic necklace and all.
You got to keep him away.
So Newt Gingrich said, quote, "These are the lessons of great victories in the Texas State Senate District 19 special election. It is not based on theory. It is based on real victories, real elections. Elections have consequences." Remember when Barack Obama said that to us?
Yes.
And my Gen Xer at work told me, he said, "Man, you guys got Trump. Can you give me some? Can you meet me halfway somewhere?" I'm like, "Nah, man, elections have consequences."
Yeah, I mean, that's what it really boils down to. If you want democratic socialism or if you want communism, basically synonymous,
right.
You got to make the argument, you got to convince people that a ideology that has failed every single time it's tried is going to finally work. And how is that possible? What are you going to do different that has not been done in the past that will work this time? And I would say you haven't made that argument. You're going to lose. And guess what? Not only will America be better for it and all of her citizens, but so will the rest of the world. Some people say, well, now that we're renegotiating all these contracts with all these countries across the world and we're renegotiating all these trade deals, that somehow the benefit that they got in the past is going to be gone and we're basically screwing over all these countries all over the world. My argument to that is that the greatest country on earth, America, the United States of America, having wealth, strength, power, all of these things, will end up making the world a better place. Because when things go down, like if we have a rise of a new Hitler or something like that, we'll have the power to stop it. And the fact that it's not happening right now, not that we know of, we can enjoy the fruits of our labor and not have to wallow in poverty that we did under the Obama administration, because we were giving away everything. We were giving away whatever wealth we had. We were also going into debt to give away more wealth. And then the private industry in America ended up having to they were outsourcing labor.
Those manufacturing jobs, they're gone.
And
we just got to accept the fact that some of those jobs just aren't coming back. What's Donald Trump think he's going to do? Renegotiate a new deal? With who? Who you going to negotiate with? Well, you got that's a magic wand. You just wing it in the air.
Yeah.
And now you take credit for the economy and the fact that he waved his magic wand, the wand of capitalism, free market, free trade, deregulation, which we all knew. Ronald Reagan did it. Ronald Reagan deregulated. However, Trump is doing it at an exponentially faster pace.
It makes sense because we're talking about a guy who has created all of his. Now, some people say, well, he was given $1 million loan from his dad. Well, he turned that $1 million into $10 billion,
which is equivalent to
That would be like if I gave you a C note, $100,
$100 bill.
and you turned that into $1 million. Literally. If you can turn $100 into $1 million, would you receive accolades for that? Would you be told, wow, Carrie, that's amazing that you were able to take that $100 and turn it into $1 million. That is the equivalent of getting a $1 million loan and turning it into $10 billion. And the thing is he's lived his life in a way and learned the things that he had to learn and do the things that he had to do specifically over the years to be able to win the first political office he ever ran for, which happened to be the highest office in all the land, not just the United States, the whole world.
There is no higher position in this world that we know. None.
Not in anywhere in the world, and he won it. So, Rookie of the Year.
Yes, Rookie of the Year.
I feel comfortable giving him Rookie of the Year because he did not run for any other. But look at the things. People say, oh, he's just a reality TV star. Donald Trump could not have won the president of the United States without having done The Apprentice because it gave him a different type of celebrity status. People knew who Donald Trump was beforehand, but he's more like a celebrity in New York. It's kind of like, Rudy Giuliani actually ran for president, and it went like, everybody talked him up in New York, and then it was like, just
fell. Yeah.
It did nothing. And the reason why is because they called him America's mayor or, whatever. The problem is that he was more of a celebrity in New York than anywhere else. But with Donald Trump, same situation where he was a celebrity. Everybody knew who he was, but he was more of a celebrity in New York. The Apprentice gave him a brand that would transcend just the New York City area.
Well, not only that, but it's not, and when people like to belittle it or diminish it by calling it, the reality TV, he's a reality TV star. Well, yeah,
it was perfect, though.
But you got to think about what that show was about.
Exactly.
That show was about making a come up.
Not only that, but it put him in this position where he rules over everything.
He was the boss.
He was the boss. And here's what I think a lot of people wanted to vote for him in 2016 for was it was different. There was something really special about him looking right into somebody's eyes, right in his eyes. And not a letter, not a pink slip, not, hey, secretary, get over here. I want you to hand this letter, this pink slip to Joe over there, but make sure I'm at lunch when you do that.
No. Give it to him at 3:55 on Friday evening, and he clocks out at 4.
They always do that. Yeah. Every company, they do it on, like you said,
or tell
last minute of the last hour of the last day of the week.
Or when they come in first thing in the morning, hand it to him, say you'll get paid for today, just go on home.
Or we'll send you your last paycheck. Don't even come in here for your last paycheck. No, he looks you right in the eye, tells you you're fired, and makes you do the walk of shame all the way out of the building.
Right.
And when people remembered that and saw how bad the swamp had gotten, how bad the deep state had gotten, and they knew it intuitively. We're learning. We're getting verified information now. Now we're hearing verification of everything we knew the whole time.
Right.
Which is that the swamp was as bad as we thought it was, maybe even worse.
Yeah.
That the deep state is real. And when we think back at when everybody was worried about this being an issue, we wanted the guy who could look you right in the eye and say, you're fired. And make you do the walk of shame, and that's what people voted for in 2016.
And now that they took a chance that his policies and then the things that he's talking about that he put into play, we even said on our show, if he did 2% of what he's talking about, it'd be phenomenal. Folks, he's doing more than 2%. He's probably got out of the 50 percentile mark of what he wanted to do, what he's trying to accomplish. It is phenomenal, like no other politician we've ever seen. But real quick, shocking video, the guy that was running against, or that is running against Ted Cruz in Texas, because people saying that it's a close race and Ted Cruz may lose, just like Hillary Clinton may take Texas.
Why did they even throw that out there? That was ridiculous. I laughed when I heard that.
So this guy, Beto, tells a black man at a stump speech in a speech rally, we need illegal labor for the cotton gin.
What?
During a town hall event on Wednesday night, Representative Beto O'Rourke Democrat Texas running against Ted Cruz told a black American who questioned his support of illegal immigration that illegal if the Democrats win the House.
Forces much because the Republicans won't have the power to resist. That come with Trump, his appointees and everything, start to look into this stuff and start to find it. We would have never seen it if Hillary got elected.
Never.
There's going to be a lot of shenanigans that are going to happen if we lose the House or the Senate or both in this midterm election. A lot of shenanigans we will never see, not for at least 2 more years, maybe even longer.
And I just want to let you know, when we did the MAGA 3X movement, MAGA 3, take you and 2 friends to the polls. Just kind of like
take 3 with you.
Take 3 with you, kind of like network marketing,
That's what,
exponential movement.
Yeah,
no.
exponential.
Okay, now this is actually easier. This is midterms. This will be exponentially easier. Find your Trump friends.
Yeah.
They have never voted in a midterm before.
Right.
Just tell them. My wife has never voted in a midterm. My millennial has never voted in a midterm. His wife has never. My sister has never.
Drag him
My
out.
mom has never.
You got to drag him out there.
There are people that definitely love Trump, support Trump, and will pull the lever, all Republican, straight down a ballot that have never voted midterm.
Right. And we got to be careful. The fact that the economy is as good as it is going to make people think that, well, I don't have to do it. Well, I'm fine. Everything's good. Leave it the way it is.
No.
The people that are going to take over the House from the Republicans are the ones that want to go back. They want to roll back to the bad things, the higher taxes, the increased regulations, sending jobs back overseas, and just overall malaise.
James Woods tweeted out, "There are so many record highs right now. I cannot list them all. And the one thing Democrats are asking you to do is to change all of it."
True.
Hashtag insanity.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. They do want you to do that. I can't believe, and we have a soundbite that I don't know if Brian wants to play later or now, it doesn't really matter. We have a soundbite where they talk about the poll where 75% people, I brought it up to Brandon earlier, that 75% of people recognize that the economy's doing better, they're getting paid more, all the above, and that the same people who voted at 75% level that we're doing good, 46% of them say that our country's going in the wrong direction. And that's scary because What direction are you talking? Do you not see the connection between the country getting better and the Republicans' direction being the result of it? Because that's really what it boils down to. So is it the one right there in the middle? To the right?
This one?
No, up, down, right. That one?
Oh, I can't even see it. Man, I'm blind. Sorry, folks. I really couldn't see that.
Yeah, that's the one. This is actually going to make you laugh. The reason I had Brian clip this out and put it in the show is because I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, this is insane. It's hilarious because I believe that the guys being interviewed here do not believe in what they're saying,
but they're paid to say it.
Yeah, I think they were upset about it.
To know, are Democrats going to take control of the House? What do the numbers say?
Well, they're in position to as of now. So we've got our estimate that would have them at 224 seats if the election were held today. There's a margin of error on that, though, and it's 12 seats, or about 5% of the whole House. And
hold on. The chart says plus or minus 12 seats.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking it was plus or minus 12%. Sorry.
12 seats.
Yeah.
Scenarios, plausible scenarios, under which the Republicans get to see some Democratic gains, but hang on, where the Republicans hang on. One of the things that strikes me underneath those numbers in these battleground districts, House districts that we surveyed, is that a remarkable 75% of people say that the economy is good nationally, that the economy is good in their area, but they're not voting for the Republicans. They're not voting for the party in power because they don't like the way the country is going.
What? How is that even possible? What does that even mean? Where do they think the economy's coming from? It's because of the policies of Donald Trump. In fact, some of the things that happened that made the country better economically happened before Trump got to do anything. So people are saying, see, it's not because of Trump. But it was because of Trump. It started going up because companies were anticipating it getting better. Yes. And they were right. That gamble paid off for them because the policies actually fit the direction that the country is going, and so they wanted their company to be set up for it.
So the poll that they said before, 75%, or the poll they're saying now, 75% said the economy's good, 46% disagree with the direction of the economy. Now, if they polled 50% Republicans, 50% Democrats, they're absolutely going to say that. I'm just saying, they're going to absolutely say that. So we'll keep going.
Don't like the direction of the country. And that split, that difference, usually you say, well, if the economy's good, the party in power wins. That split is remarkable, and it really sort of underpins why the Republicans aren't in a stronger position right now.
Did you find that sentiment in your group?
We did. We talked to 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats, and 3 of those 4 essentially say, yeah, the economy's in great shape, but can't necessarily support the Republican candidate, don't necessarily like the direction President Trump is taking us. You've got 2 competitive House races in the Vegas area, a big Senate race and a governor's race. Politics is top of mind. And, one guy told us he's seeing $20 more thanks to the tax cut. Others say, I've got a better job than I did 2 years ago. So, of course, the economy's doing great. But they have concerns about the way the president's running the country, or the fact that maybe Republicans aren't doing more to sort of stand counter to the president. Therefore, they're open for change.
He does not believe what he's saying.
No, he can't take it anymore. That is just absolute insanity. Unbelievable. Oh my goodness. So you got that. And I'll tell you what, everybody knows, everybody can feel it. Everybody knows what's going on. And something real quick, I also want to...
Whoa, hey, we got a doorbell. How's that?
I don't know. Oh, we've got our special guest ready to come on.
Special guest ready to come on. Awesome.
So we have been prepping you guys. We've been telling you about a very special guest, Juanita Broaddrick. She's, I guess, back in '79, she had a run-in with Bill Clinton. She was raped by Bill Clinton. Actually wrote a book about it, exposing who Bill Clinton is and was, and this all kind of come up with the Monica Lewinsky, came up with the Paula Jones situation back in the late 90s. And in 1997, she joined with Paula Jones's lawyer to then come out, and she came out anonymous, Jane Doe number 5 at first, but then came out. And so now we know her very well. Donald Trump brought her and 3 other victims of Bill Clinton. I believe it was to one of the debates. I keep saying the third debate, but brought them to the debate, sat them up in the stadium to see Bill Clinton. Folks, you've got to understand how wretched this dynasty, this regime of the Clinton-istas really is. And it is my pleasure, my pleasure, to bring on Juanita onto the show. Juanita Broaddrick, welcome to Smyth Radio. It is an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Excellent. Just there you go on this.
We're adjusting the volumes here. All right. Yeah.
Am I too loud?
No, I can adjust it from here. Thank you so much for coming on. So you have a new book out called "You'd Better Put Some Ice on That: How I Survived Being Raped by Bill Clinton." Is that already available for purchase? I thought I saw it on Amazon.
Yes, it's on Amazon, or you can go to my website, JuanitaBroaddrick.com, and it takes you directly to Amazon.
Awesome. Yeah, I highly recommend everybody go out there and get a copy of that. So this was a while ago. What was it that prompted you to write the book or release it at this time?
I never absolutely meant for it to be a book. When I came back from the second debate of Donald Trump, I just went to my computer and started writing everything down that I could think of about my life and dates and everything. So my son, who's an attorney, would have this, after I'm gone. So he would be able to refer back to it.
Oh, it's kind of like a record-keeping situation.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Just a memoir. And then Nick Lally, who is my co-writer, called me one day. He's an investigative reporter from Jacksonville. And he called me one day and said he wanted to do a serialized podcast about me and my life. And I said, I've got an outline.
Oh, wow. That's perfect.
I sent it to him. He says, oh, no, we need to do a book. It's exactly my words that I had written months before. And then he just sort of did a forward to it. And so that's how it became a book.
Awesome. So, many, many years later, so this happened in 1978. We got this Kavanaugh thing, which is one of the main reasons why I decided I got to reach out to Juanita Broaddrick and get her take on this. So This was an allegation that happened many, many years ago. In your case, what was it, 78 or 79? And
it was 78.
78. Okay. And then we heard about it for the first time in the late 90s, and then your name finally came out in 1999. In regard,
let me interrupt if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did not come out on my own. I was outed by the Paula Jones lawsuit and very angry about it. I had 2 of her investigative reporters that were hired by her legal team that showed up at my front door. I went out on the front porch to talk to them and told them very bluntly. In fact, the recording is online. You can get it on the internet. Where they recorded me and never told me. And I told them in so many words, this is too painful. I'll never come out, so don't subpoena me because I will never tell what happened to me.
So as I read online, you got with Paula Jones's lawyer.
No, I didn't.
You
They
didn't?
subpoenaed me against my will.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for clearing that up.
That's why I was so angry that someone, I'd been quiet for 20 years, gone about my life, tried to deal with this the best way that I knew how. Then all of a sudden, here comes this woman. I know her today, and we're friends. But here comes this woman that is trying to out me for her own personal gain. And I was angry. And I told my attorney at that time, I said, I'm not going to come out. I'm not going to tell the truth. So that was when I denied the allegations. And when I left that deposition, I thought, well, that's the end of that. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Get this out of my life. Then 2 months later, here comes Ken Starr. And my son, being an attorney, came to me and he said, Mom, we got the deposition request from Ken Starr. It's time. You've got to come clean. They know, they have the recording. They know what you said to the investigators. And he said, it was a civil suit with Paula Jones. He said, but Mom, this is federal. You've got to come clean. So that's what happened.
And how did the Clintons react to this? Didn't they? There was a lot of mistreatment on their part towards you, right?
Oh, yes. I'll never forget when I did the Paula Jones deposition. There I was, and I was angry. I was mad. I said, no, this didn't happen. And I could see Clinton's lawyers over on the side. The room was full of attorneys, and I could see them nodding and smiling. And that's the only thing that really upset me about, lying in that deposition. Then same lawyers come back, sitting in the room for the Starr deposition. And when I started to unroll everything that had happened to me, one of them got up and threw some papers against the wall. They were not expecting it.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I was young at the time, but these stories and these things that actually happened, nobody's talking about any of that stuff at all. It's damning information and gives your story even more credibility.
Oh, exactly. That's what I tweeted yesterday, I believe, that you can't bring these sketchy, vague accusations out against a very honorable man without facing what they did to the egregiousness of what they did to us as Clinton victims.
Right. You also tweeted out that you'd be available on Monday if I got that one.
Listen, I've gotten so much harassment over that because that was tongue in cheek.
I know, I got it.
Democrats cannot understand that I was just saying, hey, what about me?
Right.
I'd be happy to go in her place. But man, did it go viral?
Well, you know why it went viral bigger than anything is you exposed the double standard of the Democrats. It seems like we need to listen to potential victims, but except if they're against our politicians, then we can't listen to them. They're liars or whatever.
Right.
And so you've experienced that. Is this the first time? I feel like it's over the years. It must have been like over and over. You've seen these double standards.
Oh my gosh! Up until none of the Democrats would support me, up until 2017, and I believe it was October, maybe September, when Chris Hayes came out on MSNBC. In fact, Mike Chernovich retweeted that today, where he said, this somewhatisms that we have with the Clintons is bad from the Republicans, but it's time to take a look at Bill Clinton. And then after that is when Michelle Goldberg with the New York Times came out with her headliner, I Believe Juanita. Listen, that blew me over. I had no idea that was coming out, and I'm appreciative to Michelle for doing that.
Do you think that some people might piggyback on the notion that people that normally in the past would not have believed you are now saying, well, we need to believe Juanita Broaddrick, that they're just trying to use that as a way to get people to believe the Kavanaugh accuser?
Well, I haven't had many Kavanaugh accusers side with me. They'll come through and they'll say, how can you say negative things about this woman when she went through the same thing you did? I said, listen, if she's truthful, she did not go through 1% of what I went through. Mm-hmm. I was raped.
Right.
And it was horrific rape that made a horrible imprint on my life. It's like Leslie Millwee, the 20-year-old that was sexually assaulted by Bill Clinton, said, it becomes a part of your DNA.
Right.
You cannot get away from this.
Right. No, and when you put it in that, and when you frame it like that, the Kavanaugh accuser, Ford, we keep forgetting her name. Her last name's
Christine.
Christine Ford. She has called out multiple people, 4 or 5 different people that were supposedly at the house. All 4 of them come out and said, no, I wasn't. Either I wasn't there or I have no memory of it. Kavanaugh said, I wasn't at the party. There are so many, she can't remember the time or the day, or the year, but she remembers she was 15 and now she's the same age as Kavanaugh. And now they're saying it was 17. I'm just saying, if you're going to come out and if she really believed that the Democrat Party that she gave her note to. If she really trusted that they had her interest at heart, she's sadly mistaken, because the Democrats never have your best interest at heart. But it's
No.
And then on top of all of that, the accusation, and I'm going to put it, this is in my words, it's the horseplay of pubescent teenagers. You know, it's my stepdad used to say, "Quit grabbing those girls, leave them alone," because you know the boys are chasing the girls and the girls. This sounds like that may have been the situation,
and that's assuming that he was even there. We
Right.
don't even know if he was even there.
And she stated no clothes came off, nothing.
Yeah.
But and I'm not trying to say that. Like MSNBC had a panel of women in Florida, and they talked to them about this, and they literally painted a straw man, and all the women agreed that Kavanaugh is innocent. They said, "No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it whatsoever." Then they painted the straw man. Well, when did you stop beating your husband? And they're like, "Oh, well, you know, in that case." And I'm like, no, they painted the straw man for these women, and they weren't ready for it. They're not seasoned enough to go on TV and battle this MSNBC BS. If it's on CNN, MSNBC, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether it be Stormy Daniels, whether it be, it's all an attempt to just derail the Republicans. And I hate to say this, but a lot of the GOP, the old-time GOPers, they're still not handling this properly.
Oh, I know. And did you see the CNN panel of women that supported Kavanaugh? I tweeted that this morning. I can't believe CNN played that, but they did. And these women were so intelligent. But you go back to what happened to me. The 5 people I told to this day, and even last year being interviewed, still corroborate. The woman that came in 30 minutes after I was raped found me with torn clothes and a bloodied and swollen lip and crying. I mean, I just can't. And I did not know the day, but I knew the year.
Right.
And I knew the month.
Sure.
And then NBC found my registration for the seminar 20 years later in the basement of the Arkansas Healthcare Association.
This is a
They were
perfect.
shocked as I was.
Yeah, this is-
otherwise we wouldn't have had the date.
Right. This is a perfect example of Rush Limbaugh says, almost at least once a month, he says it's not about the nature of the evidence, it's about the seriousness of the accusations. And what you're saying here is the difference between your case and maybe some other cases, but specifically the accuser of Kavanaugh, is that the details that you have are there. You have the nature of the evidence is that you have all these details, all of it's there, and it's the opposite with her. But they're relying on the seriousness of the allegation that it's so shocking to blind people of the details that aren't there. There's no evidence.
Yeah, and what's really upsetting is when they say, "Oh, that's been litigated and adjudicated." It has never been litigated and adjudicated. And then they'll say, "Well, Ken Starr discredited her." I was never discredited by Ken Starr. I just had nothing. He wanted to know, why did you lie in the Paula Jones case? Were you bought off? Were you threatened? There was none of that. I lied because I was angry, and I saw what was happening to other women.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want to be outed like that at all.
Do you think?
And then this past week, Ken Starr, in his book tour, he was asked that question, and he even verified, no, she was not discredited. She had nothing to do with the obstruction of justice.
Right.
But that's what makes me angry, that they love to latch onto, well, she was discredited. Such a lie.
But it's the same thing that they did with I can see Russia from my house.
They do. Yeah, they're doing all kinds of stuff.
Sarah Palin, which Sarah Palin never said that, but the woman on Saturday Night Live that played Sarah Palin said that, and so Sarah Palin must have said, "I can see Russia from my house."
It's the way people remember things. It's amazing.
I love Sarah Palin.
Yeah, so do we.
Too.
No, it's interesting. We started off the interview with just these little minor details that we didn't know, and you had to correct the record on us. It's either there's a lot of people out there that are of certain age, of certain youth, that they weren't even alive or they were very young. I was in my early 20s, and I just remember just hearing on the news in passing some of the details of the Monica Lewinsky scandal, and for us as people in our early 20s, we kind of chuckled at it.
Well, he was a liberal back then.
I was accused of being a bleeding heart liberal.
Oh yeah.
He's turned the corner since then.
Did you hear what I put? Did you see what I tweeted yesterday or the day before about Dan Rather?
No,
when
I
he
missed
was on Imus. Well, when NBC was holding my interview, he went on Imus and was trying to say why, NBC was holding this, and he made the comment. He said, "If it happened, it was a long time ago, and we need to move on."
Oh,
Yikes.
come on!
Well, that's up to you. I mean,
I posted that interview. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, speaking about time frames, my aunt she's got a phenomenal memory, and she was all about back in the day. I mean, we didn't have social media, but she was about exposing the Clintons and the different, whether it be the Whitewater or the next scandal that they were involved in, the women, abortions, all kinds of stuff. That was like she was on a mission to expose the fact and that the media was lying back then in the 90s.
Yeah.
And so I called her this afternoon and I said, "Hey, you won't believe who's going to be on the show, but you have any idea? I mean, do you have anything you want to add to this?" And she was a wealth of information. And one of the things she brought up to me that I could not find the video, but the president of the president of Now, Rush Limbaugh calls them NAGs. It's National Organization of Women. Right. National Organization of Women. Patricia Ireland was interviewed by like a Charlie Rose. It's probably Charlie Rose, some of the sources. And Charlie Rose asked her, "Do you believe Juanita Broaddrick and her story?" And she said she did. She said, "I do believe her." And Charlie Rose followed it up with, "Then why do you support Bill Clinton?" And she said the reason why she supported Bill Clinton had to do with, like, she didn't say abortion, but it was women's choices.
Policy.
It was political policies, and it was directly interpreted as abortion.
Yeah. Well, I have something I'd like to say on that. Sure. I lived through that. I lived through Now saying, yes, they believe me, but sorry, we've got to go on. We have one foot in the White House. We have all of this legislation that we want to pass. And, if throwing me under the bus helped thousands of women to get better, a better environment, then so be it. I'm okay with that if they had to throw me under the bus. But it still hurt back then.
Sure. Right. No, absolutely. And then one other thing that she made a comment, and I remember on Rush Limbaugh's show, he was talking about this, and this was coming up, this is in the 90s, and a undercover investigator, a cop, for better lack of words, called into Rush's show and made the comment, said, "Hey, when we investigate rapes, victims, when we get involved in these things, when we see serial rapists, a lot of times their typical MO is to bite the lip of the victim in the situation with Clinton." And from what I've seen in the news and what I've seen in some of the folks like the Cernovich, a good friend of ours, and Jeff Pozobic and some of these other things, and seeing the Clintons over the years, I cannot help but to feel that is exactly who he is.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. In fact, one of the Republican senators, and I can't remember her name right now, after she went into Congress and read my records and my deposition, she was, when she came out, her comment to the press or to someone around was, "Yeah, that's his MO." But of course, no Democrat would read my record. They wanted nothing to do with me. And it's like Henry Hyde and Dave Shippers in the impeachment committee when they were discussing this. And Henry Hyde says, listen, to try to tell everybody on the committee, I have a woman in Arkansas, didn't mention my name. He says, we're not going to bring her out to testify, but please just read her record and to see what we're dealing with this. We have a rapist in the White House. And that's when Ted Stevens, who was an old rhino, stood up and said, I don't care if you raped her, got up and shot her dead, you're not going to get the votes.
Man.
Wow.
That's in Dave Schipper's book, Sellout.
These people, these politicians, and we've been saying this for years and years and years, it's vote for the lesser of two evils. Vote for who's probably not going to be an awful, horrible degenerate. And then Trump comes along, and I've got my own opinions about Trump. Trump comes along, and it's like, yeah, of course. Of course we're going to do this. So one of the questions, we've got a small following of Patreons, and I put the message out to them, and they asked a couple of questions. And one of the questions that they had asked, and I'm not sure if it was you that asked in the group, but somebody had asked, how does Juanita feel about Donald Trump and your relationship, if at all, with him?
Okay, I absolutely adore the man. I did not vote for him to be my pastor. I voted for him to straighten out America. And in the beginning, though, he was so rough around the edges.
Right.
And I read a tweet by James Woods, and it said, Donald Trump may be vinegar, but Hillary is arsenic. And so that's the way that I got through that first part and went through it, and I thought, no, this is the man I'm going to vote for. But then when Sean Hannity interviewed him in June or May of 2016, and they're discussing the New York Times coming out with this long list of women that had accusations against Donald Trump, which I think were ludicrous.
Where are they now? Where are they now?
Yeah, where are they now? And Sean turns to him and he said, what about Juanita Broaddrick? What about Paula Jones? What about Kathleen Willey? He said, we have accusations of groping, exposing himself. And then Trump finished his sentence and said, and rape. I fell out of my chair.
Yeah.
I absolutely fell out of my chair. And that's when I felt, I would always say sexual assault, but that gave me, it made it valid. And from then on, I've said rape.
Hey, that must have make you feel really good to finally get that recognition of what had happened.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on, or did you have another question from the group, or because I was going to ask her about
go ahead.
the big thing, probably the main thing this week is the Kavanaugh hearings and the confirmation to have him as a lifelong SCOTUS pick. It seems to me that he comes from a long line of honor. He's been investigated by the FBI all these years, and then this woman comes out, and we're told as men, us brutish men here, that we are to believe these women when they come forward, and of course we're kind of like, okay, well, let's hear out what she's got to say. Let's hear the evidence. What do you make of Kavanaugh and the accuser and all this? Like, what are your thoughts of it?
It's too sketchy. It's too vague. How can you? I was 15 once. It was a long time ago.
I'm with you.
I can't imagine being a 15-year-old girl and not telling anyone, no one.
Not even a friend, not even a trusted.
People jump onto me for saying that, but there's got to have been somebody that she would have told. I mean, I know I was 35, but it's just like I told Laura Ingraham and Martha McCollum the other night on Fox. I said, it's just it stinks. I'm sorry.
It's interesting that you say that. Not anyone was told. And check this out. Congresswoman Eshoo from California, she is the congresswoman of the accuser. She was interviewed on Face the Nation this morning and was asked about it, and she interrupted John Dickerson to tell him, I just have one thing to say. Women tell each other their secrets. And what she was saying that for was that the accuser had told her some things that she does not want to divulge because she wants to maintain the secrecy of this woman. She had asked her to keep these things secret, and so she did not divulge. But if women tell each other secrets, and this happened to her when she was 15, there should be somebody coming forward to say, oh, yeah, she told me this. I think we lost Juanita Broaddrick. I'm going to have to get her back on. Oh, we need to get her to respond to that. So, yeah. Oh, here she comes. There we go.
There we go.
I don't know what happened.
There you are.
But she told her congressman. Her congressman was asked what it was that she asked her, and she said, no, women tell each other secrets, and I'm not going to divulge it. So my question is if this happened to this woman, and you're just now saying that you can't believe that she didn't tell anyone, not even a trusted friend back then. What do you make of that she said that her congressman said that?
Well, it's true. Women know this. Women tell women things. It's just the way it is. Girls especially tell girls things. That's the way it's been and the way it always will be.
And yet this accuser.
Imagine. Did you see Jake Tapper's interview with Hirono?
I did not.
Fake Jake?
No, I did not.
Oh yeah, Jake Tapper. I mean, he was very good. He put her feet to the fire.
Oh really? Wow. Good. I'll have to check that out. Now,
definitely check that out.
Just for the namesake, when I was younger, and there was a couple of people that I had known, young teenagers, not under the age of 15, and they had the females had said something to me, even as a guy. So when something happens of that nature, and you're that young, I'm not saying that you couldn't harbor it forever, but I will say that at 15, 16, 17, I don't think you would harbor it very long without. And it's unfortunate. I mean, didn't tell a parent, didn't tell a friend. No police reports, no paperwork, no documentation. The house is sketchy. The guy who owned the house, Bill Stills on YouTube, Bill Stills came out with a video. The guy that owned the house looks identical to Kavanaugh, and all this just circumstantial things that are just out there, and everybody denying it on Kavanaugh's side.
Yeah,
that they weren't even there. I wasn't even at the party. I wasn't even there. And then you got, I think, Cuomo. Cuomo was pushing with Kellyanne Conway. Well, if there's nothing there, then get the FBI involved. Get the FBI. And the FBI says again and again,
we don't do this.
We don't do this. There is no there.
Yes, I tweeted that. There is no there. Yeah. It's absolutely unreal.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of this, just people messaging you and people telling you, but I'm seeing more and more, and with my own eyes, when I'm out in public and I hear people start to get in these conversations, I don't think anybody, any general public type person just out on the streets believes I feel like this is a Democrat smear. That not so much that this woman, and maybe if something did happen to this woman, it seems like it may have happened with a guy that's not Kavanaugh. Seems like.
Yeah, seems like it. No, definitely.
But yeah, it seems like the general public, especially women, are saying, "Oh, I don't believe a word she's saying." And I know we're supposed to listen to the women when they come out with these accusations, but if it's not credible or if it's not real, they do a disservice to people who actually do have this stuff happen to them.
And the Democrats have absolutely ruined it for any rape victim. Oh. They have ruined it with this Me Too movement. Oh. They have ruined it with the what was the black actor, the football player that got package checked?
Terry.
Terry comes out and says #MeToo. I had a producer check my package. No, dude, you weren't raped. I'm sorry. There's levels. There's levels of.
Oh no! How about the ones that say I was asked on a date by a guy I did not want to go on a date with?
Multiple
times. Me too.
Multiple times he kept pressing. That's what guys do. That guys pursue women.
And they persist.
And they persist. But when it comes physical, obviously that it's crossing the line completely 100%, and it's not cool.
Right.
But when it goes to the part as far as it went in your case, that's when the Democrats, well, we can't find a rape victim, so let's invent one.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
the disservice they're doing.
Yeah, that's what's troubling to me is things like this really hurt true rape victims. Of course, it doesn't hurt me because they're not going to do anything about it anyway.
I know.
Yeah, it does. Do you all think she'll really testify?
You know, that is still up in the air, right? I think they're trying to delay it on purpose.
It's last minute hour while I was doing show prep today. They said it's confirmed Thursday at 10:30.
That's what they're saying.
I don't think she'll show up.
I don't either. I honestly don't think. Look what's happened. What's been found out within the last even 48 hours.
It's
crumbling.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And when you're in front of, even if it's closed doors, and you're in front of Congress, and you got to take a bus because you don't like to fly.
And then you find out that she's flown all over the place.
And you find out that Grassley's willing to do a phone call interview. And if she shows up, she's not going to be prepared. It's going to fall apart. It's going to completely disintegrate. So to keep the narrative going, they got to keep the snowball going.
I think they're going to try delay is what they're doing.
Well, you see where they brought in that, I think it's McCabe's attorney.
I had that in the show notes.
McCabe or Stroke? McCabe's attorney.
Yeah, she just hired Andy McCabe's lawyer.
Yeah, and that's because now all of this is coming out. I just did an article with Town Hall. They put it out this morning. You know, these two women were Hillary freaks. Banks and Katz are they're the ones that were saying, oh, look at that white outfit she has on election day. And they said, we have got to get us a white outfit like that when she wins. What? Celebration. Oh my God.
I didn't get that. I did hear that she did the pink posse hat in the protest. She did that. She was involved in that movement, anti-Trump. It's just unfortunate. But real quick before I forget, a couple of other real quick questions from the group. Sure. Bill Morgan says, I assume she's been around Hillary. Does Hillary have a history of health problems, things that shaking, etc., or is this a new thing? And also on the side, is Hillary, the rumors of her being an angry, vicious snake, is that true too? If you know any of that.
No, I've not been around her in 40 years.
Okay.
Not since she threatened me. But you can see her on TV, and I'm a registered nurse. To me, she exhibits all the symptoms of Parkinsonism.
So you're backing up Mike Cernovich's claim that she might have.
I really think that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't doubt it.
No, I don't doubt it at all. The EpiPen that everybody's talking about. You remember when they were talking about the doctor guy and he has the.
Yes.
What's that? What is that?
Yeah, well, you could see it in his pocket, the man that went around with her. Yeah, she definitely has some severe problems. And even Parkinson's disease, affects you mentally. But, yeah, she's bound to have some serious medical problems.
Okay, and did you ever, this from Lotus, did you ever feel that your life was ever threatened for sharing your story and coming out?
Oh, before I shared my story, yes. Whenever, in 1991, I was at a nursing home seminar with two of my nurses, and one of them was the one that found me that day in 78. And someone comes to the door and says, Miss Broaddrick is wanted in the hall. I go out there, they follow shortly behind me, and he points down around the corner by the elevator, and he said, you're needed down there. So I go down around the corner, and there stands Bill Clinton.
No!
I was totally, it's a wonder I didn't faint.
Hold it, this was in 91, this was just before the election?
So he was a governor at the time.
Yes. So this is, he comes over to me, and I just start backing up. He tries to take my hand, and he starts with all this gibberish of, I'm so sorry for what I did. I'm a changed man. I'm a family man. And this was shocking to me. I had never been in this man's presence since he raped me. And I just sort of back up, And I start to cry, and I say, "You go to hell."
Yeah.
And I walked off. And when I got back to where my nurses were standing, they said, "What in the world did he want?" And I said, "He apologized." And none of us could believe it. And then 2 weeks later, he announced he was running for president. But what worried me about that moment was that he knew where I was at that time in my life and could reach out and touch me.
Wow. So at that time, you were surprised that he was able to find you so readily.
Oh, I was shocked. He must have been keeping tabs on me.
Wow, that's a little scary. And then, of course, the Bimbo Eruption Squad by Hillary Clinton was I imagine if I were the target of something like that it would feel kind of threatening.
Oh, I did, but I'm fortunate. Now, Kathleen Willey had personal threats issued to her when she was walking around by some man. But I'm very fortunate financially. I mean, I worked hard all my life. I own nursing homes, and I have a home that has fenced and has a security gate.
Good.
And so it's going to be very difficult for anybody to get through to me. And I have very concerned neighbors. So it's different. Kathleen was alone. And when I came out, I wasn't alone. I was married at the time and had numerous friends that continually checked on me.
This question by James Corwin, pretty much just asking, since you've come out, has there been a specific reporter that seemed to be the most fair to you?
Oh, they were none of them fair to me.
Oh, gosh.
No. When I came out in 98 and had that harshness and harassment from the media calling me a liar with the women's organizations not standing up for me, I went back into the woodwork. Listen, guys, that was 20 years. I would never have come back out because I saw what happened. Had Hillary not tweeted, all victims of sexual abuse should come forward and be believed, and we're with you. I heard that on the television, and I went ballistic. I said, no, you cannot say that. You, of all people, there's no way. So I called my grandson to teach me how to go on Twitter. And he walked me through it. And so the next morning, I got up on January the 6th, 2016, and I typed that tweet. Had to get it down because I kept getting the red marks coming up. And I tweeted, I was 35 years old when Bill Clinton, the Arkansas Attorney General, raped me, and Hillary tried to silence me. I'm now 73. It never goes away. So I thought, well, that looks good. I clicked tweet, and within probably 5 minutes, my phone was ringing off the wall. And I had not said anything that I hadn't said 20 years previously. I had no idea what the power of Twitter.
Yeah.
That was my first really tweet. I think a year before I had tweeted, I'm on the porch having coffee, something like that. But I did not know. The third call was from my son. And my son said, he's an attorney. He said, Mom, what did you do?
You broke the Twitter.
I don't know.
Right.
I had no idea.
You told the truth. You know, I actually started following you then at that tweet. I remember that tweet, and I started following you then. Not to get off track, but what's up with the Twitter name, the handle?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, what does that name mean?
I put that on there yesterday. It's a tennis nut. I play tennis.
Oh, tennis nut. Okay. I was like, what?
Old people can still play tennis.
Okay, so you can follow Juanita at ATENSNUT.
Pronounced a tennis nut. Okay. But of course, the Democrats pronounce it a tense nut.
What do you know? What a surprise.
A tennis nut. No, that's fantastic.
Well, do you have another question, or because you better put some ice on that. How I Survived Being Raped by Bill Clinton is available on Amazon by Juanita Broaddrick, and please go out there and get a copy of that. I heard, is it less than 100 pages?
Yeah, it's around 100. It's not a big read.
Yeah, I'm ready to get it because I can't do books more than like 150 pages. So I am going to get one right away for sure. I highly recommend all you guys get out there and get that. And we thank you so much for coming on and being a guest on Smyth Radio.
Oh, so happy to be with you guys. Call me back again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Juanita.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Awesome. Okay. Did you get that link for our last guest?
Yeah.
We're only 9 minutes late on him, so we should be good. Awesome. So our next guest that we're going to try to get on is an important guest for this coming up winter, because we have the American Priority Conference. Are you sending it to him? Hopefully, or do I have to do it? You got it. Okay, cool.
Does he have an email?
I thought I sent that to you. So his name's Alex Phillips, and I cannot see. Let's see. Do you want me to read it to you on the air?
Here, I will.
No, here you go.
Here, let me send it to you.
It's right there.
Yeah, you send it to him right now.
Huh? Oh,
yeah. Here, I'll give it to you in the Zoom.
all right. So we're gonna get Alex Phillips on, and he's organizing the American Priority Conference, which is in December. And you're zooming it to me.
Yeah.
Oh, see, we got it. We're all kinds of
Desktop. Sorry, folks.
We got it.
Whew, good times. That was an awesome. That was back to back, incredible interviews. I hope you all absolutely enjoyed it. We had a great conversation with Brandon. #walkaway.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And Juanita's her tent, the lighting in her room was a little bit darker than ours, but
that's okay.
It's
She
okay.
doesn't have a studio.
Yeah, it went
That's
over
okay.
real well. So getting back to some things that are going on, we'll wrap this up real quick. The whole Kavanaugh thing. Hillary did say that I heard Kelly Conway say we shouldn't be subjecting her to insult, and I think you can avoid the appearance of insult if you don't have an investigation. So Hillary Clinton begging for an FBI investigation, and that is the only way to do it. And Republicans are insulting Christine Ford, who's come out against Brett Kavanaugh. It's just an absolute joke. And again, the timeline, Anna Eshoo received the letter from Christine about Kavanaugh and the situation that she claims went down from an unnamed Stanford law professor. This thing gets so strange and it gets so convoluted. She then gave it to Feinstein. Nobody gave it to the FBI. Feinstein's involved with it. Feinstein said that, or Politico wrote about it. They wrote said that the letter was written by an unnamed Stanford professor. The Times wrote a story. Doesn't explain why Feinstein waited until a week before the Kavanaugh confirmation vote.
I'm telling you.
And then the FBI today said, and this was September 13th, that it had received Feinstein's referral and included it in Judge Kavanaugh's background file. A bureau official also said that no criminal investigation has been opened related to the matter. The Times said it spoke to 2 anonymous sources who say the letter concerned an incident of possible sexual misconduct between Judge and the woman when they were both. So someone familiar with the matter told the Times. Here we go again, folks. Third person removed. It's out of control. Lou Dobbs came out about this, said GOP leaders are being played the fools. 4th purported witness claims no knowledge whatsoever. I tweeted this out. I said, you're right. Would be best for America, because she was supposedly said that she feared for her life, so she moved to California and said she should move to New Zealand. She wanted to move to New Zealand. And I said, you're right. That would be best for America if she moved to New Zealand, because what she's doing will haunt her for the rest of her life. Okay, so let's see if we got this going. Oh, yep, we got it. Let's see, unmute. We have another very special guest. This will be our 3rd guest for the evening.
We are just packing them in.
Okay, so just make sure that Alex, can you hear me, Alex? Hold on.
Maybe not.
Can you hear me, Alex?
I can hear you.
Yes.
All right, awesome. Go ahead if you want to introduce Alex real quick, and I'll get the video feed set up.
So there's a conference coming to D.C. in December. It'd be December 6th through 8th, and the person organizing that conference, called the American Priority Conference, is Alex Phillips, and we have him on right now. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. I want to tell you, I really like your show today. Y'all had some good guests on. It was very fascinating to see Juanita, tell her story. I think that, what you guys are doing is really at the core of what the American Priority Conference is about. My background in politics is from the telecom world, so I know all about the internet.
Cool.
And I spent most of my time, past 6-7 years, going to D.C. to meet with regulators mostly, and folks on the Hill to talk about internet regulation and broadband policy. And I got sort of just a sliver of that pie of the swamp in my mouth, and it was pretty nasty.
Oh, I got the bad taste in your mouth.
Swamp pie.
Swamp pie.
But after the 2016 election, I kind of got, I guess I hate to use the word red-pilled, but I got red-pilled.
Really? So
I knew some things weren't right.
You were a Democrat. I didn't know that.
No, I wouldn't say I was a Democrat. I never was really affiliated with any party.
Okay.
I consider myself an independent, and I still kind of consider myself an independent, leaning conservative. I have libertarian views. I have some liberal views, but overall, I just think that what's going on in our government today is wrong. I think that and I have my experience from the telecom world. I've seen the Democrats be in charge. I've seen the Republicans be in charge, and they always kowtow to big business. When it comes to the FCC regs, and so that's not really representing the people. And whenever I was in D.C., I spent my time representing the people. I spent representing small businesses who actually represented the heartland of our America. The rural counties, rural cities and towns that were left out, that big business didn't seem fit to be able to provide broadband services. So, I've got a good background in this. And so I decided in 2017 to step down. I was the president of WISPA, the Wireless ISP Association, for 2 years, and I was on the board for 6. And I decided to step down and focus my efforts a little bit more on the broader side of politics and get involved in some more issues. So internet policy is still a part of what we're doing. You can look at our agenda. We've got, internet in rural America. We've got the Internet Bill of Rights as part of our discussions.
Awesome. Well,
before
you go further,
a lot of other issues.
We should probably tell them where to find all this stuff. We got AmericanPriority.com. Is that where we're going? Where we're sending people?
Yeah, AmericanPriority.com is our website, and that has a place where you can go to find out more about the conference, see our speakers. We've got a pretty good, respectable list of confirmed speakers.
We're still building on it. Yeah, we're still building on it now, right?
Yeah, I had a few more people confirm with me. We have a panel where we're going to talk about related to political violence. Obviously, it's a hot topic. And I've got a fellow named R.C. Maxwell who I met in St. Louis with you guys, and I've known his story for some time, and he's trying to help me put together a good panel of people that are very heavily involved in what's going on in political violence and how we need to try to address it. They're going to tell their stories, and we're going to talk about this. Political violence is a real big problem, and I've never been a victim of political violence, but since I got involved in this conference, and we've been doing the marketing for this conference, I have seen some of the most hateful messages on Facebook from people that don't even know who I am, it really bothers me because I saw this also at the Mother of All rallies. People would just be jogging by and just drop the F-bomb, left and right. They don't know me. They don't know any of the people in my tent. They don't know any of the people at that conference, at that event. And yet they feel confident enough in their convictions to use the F-bomb as a descriptor for these people, which it really bothers me. And I think that discussion and open, dialogue is really a key to solving this problem.
Back during the campaign, my daughters and I, and when I say daughters, they were 8 and 9.
Yeah.
With me, their dad, and we're we went to a couple different businesses around the on and off ramps of the interstates near here, and I asked one of the local car shops if we could put a Trump sign out on the street right near the freeway. And we got discussion and talking about it. He's like, yeah, sure, go ahead, go ahead. So we walked out there, put the Trump sign out there, and as we're doing this, 3 different people driving by screaming F Trump, just the vile
right in front of your
cursing
kids.
right in front of the kids. Right in front of the kids. So I just don't get all the anger. I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah.
Unless it's
lack of civility too. Like it's weird. You remember when we were in D.C. one of the times we were there, and there was a rally, a leftist rally that we didn't even know about. We just walked out and said, "What are all these people doing?" They were marching on to the White House. They were going to go up to the fence, and then when they got there, they were going to stop and show their signs and stuff. And they had children with them.
Yes.
And they were screaming obscenities. Some of them were actually the parents of the kids that were screaming obscenities, and the kids were just standing around listening to all this. And I remember thinking,
well, and I even said it.
Kids around here.
I even said it. I would say it when they would scream such vile obscenities. I said, do you realize there are children around here?
Yeah.
Whether they're yours or not. They
probably thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
Yes. So back to the conference. So we have this conference coming. It's December 8th, 6th through 8th, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm glad my wife pointed that out because I just assumed, 3 days. It's got to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we want to make sure that people know to plan ahead accordingly, make sure that they know that it'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? December 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Yeah, so we're going to start off Thursday night with a VIP social with some of our attendees that are going to come and have some special guests kind of open up the ceremony of this conference. And then Friday itself is going to be the meat of the conference as far as speakers. And then on Saturday, we're going to have our breakouts. And our breakouts are going to be really fun for a lot of folks. We're going to try to educate people on grassroots activities and organizing. We're going to teach people about things related to citizen journalism. Because that's, like I said, you guys are the heart of what's going on in our movement today. It's not just about electing people and getting other people elected and changing policy. It's really about, trying to take back, our country from, who seems to be in control or who thought they were in control of, the news and information. Citizen journalists like yourselves and people that, get on, spend their time and sacrifice their family life and their work and whatever it is they're doing to try to get the news out and try to present it in a way that's unbiased and truthful is really at the core of what we're trying to do. I don't have anything that we're selling.